Welcome back to Luxury Cruising. I'm your host, Crystal Sodaitis, and today I wanted to talk about something that's kind of really been bubbling up in my cruise news feed and in the cruise world. And a couple of weeks ago, Royal Caribbean announced their latest Icon class ship. It's called Hero of the Seas. Don't ask my opinion about the name because you'll get an earful. Their latest Icon class ship is going to have the newest iteration of their Ultimate Family Suite, and it is going to be the Ultimate Family Treehouse. So I thought it would be fun to go through what are these Ultimate Family Suites, what's the history of them, and talk about really what I consider really pinnacle in terms of family suites, family forward, family focused, ultimate in luxury suites. I mean, even to call them suites is like with an asterisk because these are almost like mini homes. They're just maybe not mini homes, but it's like a play space for the whole family. And if your family has the means and is really looking for the ultimate privacy, square footage, and luxury, these suites are really the way to go. And I'm going to talk about the Ultimate Family Suite, which was the first iteration of these types of rooms, and then the evolution of it into the Ultimate Family Townhouse, and then now the Ultimate Family Treehouse. I'm also going to talk about the different ships that those room types are found on. And of course, I'll do a little overview of Star Class because since these are generally the most expensive, I found a couple of cruises where actually there was one more, I think it was like the Crown Loft Suite, might be a more expensive per person experience than the Ultimate Family Suites. But basically, we're talking this is at the top of your suite sort of hierarchy. And so it's on Star Class. So if you remember, you get Star Class benefits like a Royal Genie, complimentary specialty dining, the ultimate dining package on Royal Caribbean, meaning you can eat in almost any restaurant on some of the newer ships. It's included, or you get a stipend. You can have all of your food delivered from any restaurant into your stateroom or your suite. Your internet is complimentary, priority embarkation and disembarkation. Your Genie reserves seats for you at every show. On some of the newer ships, and we'll talk a little bit about this, but on some of the newer ships, you're part of the suite neighborhood. So it's incorporated into that ship within a ship concept. And of course, like I said, the Genie, which is sort of like a butler slash concierge on steroids. As I've always said, the Genie is there to make all of your cruise wishes come true. Let's start with the very beginning. And the first Ultimate Family Suite was found on Harmony of the Seas. And this was huge when it debuted. I think it was like 2016 that Harmony came out. Harmony is an Oasis class ship. So Oasis class ships have things like Central Park. They created the neighborhood concept. They have Central Park. They have the boardwalk. They've got a Royal Promenade. They're really considered to be like these sort of mini resorts on the seas with lots of also open air spaces. Yeah, open air spaces. So Harmony of the Seas Ultimate Family Suite is a two-bedroom, two-story suite. It sleeps up to 8. And the 2 bedrooms are not like on other suites, you've got 2 bedrooms, and 1 bedroom is clearly like a master suite with an en-suite bathroom. And then the second bedroom is more like a small interior room with a bathroom that's in the hallway. And definitely the Ultimate Family Suite has 2 master bathrooms. With now most master bathrooms may not have both a shower and a tub, but they're ensuite and they're beautiful. And it really is so that if you wanna share, if there's, like, 2 families that want to share this suite, kinda splitting up the cost, then or maybe it's the parents and the grandparents, and then the kids are sleeping sort of, like, in the kids' area, because this suite does have specific area just for kids, and a specific sleeping area just for kids. The sofa bed obviously will pull out as well to sleep 2 people or kids. So the suite usually can sleep up to 8 people, but because it's a loft and just because the square footage is so much, it never feels crowded. Obviously, you've got a giant balcony and with a hot tub. This one even has table tennis. I haven't seen it, but hopefully the ping pong table is like surrounded by those glass walls that sometimes you see because otherwise playing table tennis on a cruise ship to me is always dicey just because of the wind, but hopefully it's enclosed. But the Ultimate Family Suite also has, and if anyone's ever seen pictures of it, right, this these bright rooms. Like a lot of times the rooms on the staterooms on a ship, especially these newer ship, have a slightly more muted tones, but no, the Ultimate Family Suite is, like, really bright reds and really bright blues and yellows, and it's got a giant slide that can take you from the top part of the loft to the bottom. It's got little hidden nooks and crawl through areas for the kids. It's got a game room with video games and air hockey, and it's really just intended to be fun and to bring out the fun in a room. So when this room debuted on Harmony of the Seas, it had so much wow factor and it came with a really wow price tag. Now for Harmony, I'll talk about pricing later, but for Harmony, it's come down because it's an older ship. It's going on 10 years at the time of this recording. But Harmony of the Seas, this was the first Ultimate Family Suite. Then next, and I think Ovation actually debuted in the same year or really close to Harmony, but Ovation brought the next Ultimate Family Suite. Ovation is a quantum class ship. And so the nice thing about quantum class ships and why I love them is that quantum class is built to be able to sail and be comfortable in cooler weather. So it's got a lot of indoor activities and a lot of indoor spaces. The Royal Promenade is basically completely enclosed. It also has a C-plex, and the C-plex is kind of like a giant gym because there you can play instead of having your sports court outside, think of having a sports court inside, but it's 2 levels. The second level, again, has your table tennis, but I think it has air hockey, it's got some foosball, it's got some video games. I think there were some Xboxes up there, but they'll also do things there like bumper cars. Bumper cars is a huge favorite. They'll do roller skating sometimes. I've seen them even have, like, circus school where they kind of teach the kids to, like, walk on a high wire and do some acrobatics. So, I love quantum class ships, and they also have the iconic 270, which is at the back of the ship. This is 270-degree windows, so you can see the back of the ship, the aft view, and there's always an amazing, really technologically impressive show in 270. So, it's really quantum class ships are just amazing. And for Ovation's Ultimate Family Suite, because it was designed and built really close to the time of Harmony, there's not a lot of changes between those 2 suites. It's a little bit connected to sort of like the suite area, so it feels a little bit private, it feels a little bit quieter, but no one is ever gonna say an Ultimate Family Suite with all kids running around is gonna be a quiet place. The next ship that has an Ultimate Family Suite is Symphony of the Seas. And so anytime ships are built really close to each other, then there's probably not going to be a big difference in sort of like when they do something like an Ultimate Family Suite or even the ship itself. There's not going to be a huge difference. But Symphony, there was enough time between building that they could see sort of like what did people like about the Ultimate Family Suite? What would people want to have changed? And what might they want to add? And so what Symphony brought is they enlarged the balcony and they also created a really distinguished like movie space and just changed up the flow. Think of it as like The Symphony's Ultimate Family Suite is kind of like Ultimate Family Suite 2.0. A little bit bigger, maybe a little bit, brighter, and just enhancing all of the cool aspects of the Ultimate Family Suite. Next on the timeline, we've got Spectrum of the Seas. Now, Spectrum of the Seas is a quantum plus class, which just means like they enlarged the seaplex. Quantum of the Seas is the other quantum plus class ship. They put Playmakers, which is like the sports bar, they put Playmakers on the second floor of the seaplex, which I absolutely love. When we did that, it was fantastic. It was just fun to be, like, on the floor of the Cplex and then be able to look up and, like, watch something on the TV. Like, I remember my husband we were doing, like, the silent disco in the Cplex, and my husband was watching cricket on the TVs in Playmaker, so it was super fun. But anyway, Spectrum of the Seas, Quantum Plus Class. Now, this ship was specifically built for the Asian market. So it has a few little touches that because it was going to Asia, they built for that population in ways that they culturally how they prefer to sail. This is the first ship that has the sort of sweet neighborhood and debuted Royal Caribbean's ship within a ship concept. It really sort of once again up levels the Ultimate Family Suites level of luxury and privacy. I absolutely love this. I've seen videos of this Ultimate Family Suite and like it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm trying to do a little bit of math in my head and be like, it says it sleeps 8, but I think that they could probably fit more, maybe even 8 or 9. There's even a little table where there's a crib hidden. You know, if you don't have a baby that needs a crib, then it's just like a table. But I saw where you can open it up and take the lid off and there's a crib inside. It has on the second floor the biggest bathroom I have ever seen on a ship. You may have seen, like, pictures or videos of those bathrooms that are, like, all white marble, and they've got, like, the giant tub in the middle. It's got one of those, and it's completely surrounded by windows that you can either frost or unfrost. And then in a separate area, it's got a shower that's probably as big as some interior staterooms that has jets coming from you from all directions. I'm not sure if I would like that shower experience or not, but it looks really cool. Double vanity sink, and not like double vanity like you're standing shoulder to shoulder, like you have space. I mean, this Ultimate Family Suite on Spectrum of the Seas is just next level. Now, getting back to the US, we have Wonder of the Seas. I can't remember when it debuted, but it was sometime around, COVID era. It may have been one that, was delayed until during the shutdown. But Wonder of the Seas is back to Oasis. It is an Oasis class ship, and that just updated the Ultimate Family Suite. Brighter, modern decor, it's a little bit stylish, a little bit of a few stylistic changes, but really nothing over the top, nothing extraordinary to note in terms of Wonder of the Seas. It is part of the suite neighborhood, and you do get access to the suite sun deck. And even though you have your own hot tub on the balcony of the Ultimate Family Suite, if you do want to go to the suite sun deck and use their amenities, you have that ability too. I will mention too, around this time, Odyssey of the Seas debuted, and I forget, Odyssey and Wonder came out really close together. I think Odyssey was first. So even though Odyssey is a Quantum Plus class ship, it does not have an Ultimate Family Suite, which I think is really interesting. And I don't know, somebody from Royal Caribbean can contact me and tell me like why they chose not to put an Ultimate Family Suite on Odyssey, but it just is. 2024, Utopia of the Seas debuted. Now, Utopia is also an Oasis class ship, but the interesting thing about Utopia is from the time it debuted, and even before it debuted, we knew that Utopia was going to be specifically for shorter 3 and 4 night cruises. And so they say that the suite was optimized for immediacy or efficiency, like just the layout. I guess the architects in the way that they design these things, there's a way to maximize. the layout of the ship so that when you're there for only a short period of time, it amplifies your experience. Don't tell me how they do that, but that's what was said. The nice thing about Utopia is that now instead of 2 bedrooms, you have 3 bedrooms. It's also a loft layout. The slide and the game room, I think they changed the setup. So the game room and the slide are much more towards the front rather than being sort of like hidden. The slide, if you look at any videos or anything of Wonder of the Seas, Spectrum of the Seas, the slide is kind of towards the back, which personally I kind of like. I don't need to be like hit with a slide as soon as I walk in, but for Utopia of the Seas, it's more towards the front. Again, you've got a balcony and a hot tub, and here's where your Royal Genie can really pay off. Because the Royal Genie reserves seats for you, you don't have to wait in line, and there's so much entertainment on these ships. You don't have to spend your time waiting in line, making your reservations. If you want to go to the comedy club, the Royal Genie's got your seats there waiting for you. If you want to go to the show, I can't remember what the show is on Utopia of the Seas. Somebody can put it in the comments, but if you want to go to the show on Utopia of the Seas, like you don't have to wait in line. You can just show up 10 to 15 minutes before if you wanna just eat in your room because you don't wanna sit in the dining room or in Coastal Kitchen or wherever in Chops for 2 hours, but you want it delivered to be able to have sort of like a more expeditious, whatever the term is, meal, you can do that. So Utopia is really kind of like the ultimate family suite for Utopias can be really nice because you've only got a short time on the ship and that you can maximize and make your time, the most efficient. So this is where the ultimate family suite sort of end because next we're going to move the next ship that debuted was Icon of the Seas. Now, Icon class is the newest and largest of the Royal Caribbean fleet. They're a completely different design. They're liquefied natural gas or LNG powered so that they're a little bit more cleaner for the environment. They change the AquaDome. So on Oasis class ships, you have an aqua theater where they have these amazing shows with these high divers going into water and there are these aerialists and dancing and the kids love it because there's like a splash zone. But the problem on the Oasis class ships is that since they were outside, it was often canceled. The shows were often canceled because of, weather or movement for the safety of the performers. What they did is they enclosed the Aqua Theater and now it's an Aqua Dome. It's an entire neighborhood that includes the AquaDome marketplace that has these little like food stalls that are open late that I absolutely love. It's got this beautiful seating. The ones that I have been on, there's got some specialty dining hooked. The specialty dining is in there. And then behind it, there's this beautiful like seating area and space. And I wish I could remember it's called the Overlook. And again, you can see out to the ocean and see the beautiful ocean views. And he's got these great quiet seatings. And it's amazing because especially at the beginning, the first few days of the cruise, most people don't even know it's there. And so you can really find a great quiet place to sit. The rye and bean bar that has like coffee and coffee inspired drinks there. So the AquaDome sort of neighborhood is unique to the Icon class and really a great feature. The other thing that Icon is known for is Category 6 water park. There are 6 water slides on the top deck. And it also has its own like restaurant called Base Camp, and it has all the other things too. It's got a sports court, and instead of a boardwalk, it has Surfside, which is a family neighborhood that was designed for an Icon. I think it was designed for kids under maybe 6 or 8. With future iterations, I think they've bumped that up to maybe closer to 10, but you've got a number of restaurants there, also lots of slides. And what they added was the ultimate family townhouse. Now, the ultimate family townhouse is 3 stories. It has a little private patio that opens directly into the Surfside family neighborhood. So I've seen it. I haven't been inside, but I've seen it. And you sort of go around this corner. You go to the back of Surfside and you go around this corner and you see the patio. Now, personally, I didn't love it. I wouldn't wanna stay there because you can basically I'm reasonably tall, I'm about 5'10", and I can see over the fence, and I can see the table tennis, and I could see sort of like the little Adirondacks chairs, and if I was there, I wouldn't want people, like, peering over the fence looking basically into my little backyard. I also noticed some people would, like, put their drinks down by the little back picket fence they have there, so which just seemed kinda gross, and I don't know how often people come around there, the staff come around there to clean it up, so that to me was kind of a turn off, but it sells out all the time. So I'm sure for plenty of people, like, they don't care. It also has a terrace. So it's got the patio on the bottom floor, but then at the top, it's got a terrace with a hot tub. It doesn't only have a little movie room, it has a karaoke room. I forgot to mention the musical staircase. I know the one on Spectrum of the Seas has a musical staircase. This one has sort of like an a la, Big, if anyone's seen Big the movie, musical staircase. And of course, you've got the slide. And they really didn't want to make this like just a little one room suite. It was intended to be like a residence at sea, like your house at sea. And then, of course, you've got your genie that is there to make all your cruise wishes come true. So this really was the next, with a new class of ship. Again, they're going to sort of up level that ultimate family room, we'll say, experience. And the second Icon class ship is called Star of the Seas. Again, Icon and Star, or Icon of the Seas and Star of the Seas, were built very close together. And so there's really not a lot of difference between um, the Icon of the Seas and Star of the Seas Ultimate Family Townhouse. Now, the next two ships I'm going to talk about have not been released yet. One is Legend of the Seas, and that one will debut in the summer of 2026. And then the other one, as I said, is Hero of the Seas, and Hero will debut in 2027. Everything I'm going to say right now about Legend and about Hero it's just from renderings. It's just from what we've been told and from what Royal Caribbean has told us about these suites. So Legend of the Seas, the third in the Icon class ship series. And from everything that we know about Legend of the Seas, definitely there's going to be, again, there's been some time between when Icon of the Seas and Star of the Seas were built and when Legend of the Seas was built. So there probably are going to be some upscale, some up-leveling, some changes in the decor. Hopefully they'll fix a little, like, I can see over your picket fence onto your back porch issues. And we will, wait and see. Legends of the Seas, it's going to have the Royal Railway. It's going to have a supper club concept. So we know that Legend is just going to continue to iterate. The AquaDome marketplace, it's going to be larger and it's going to have different food stalls. So I'm sure there will be some differences, but we'll have to wait and see. So stay tuned. And then what sparked this whole podcast episode is Hero of the Seas. So it was announced that on Hero of the Seas, there would be something called the Ultimate Family Treehouse. So the Ultimate Family Treehouse is going to be like a villa in the skies. It's over 2,300 square feet, huge outdoor space. The terrace is going to be up on the top of the ship, again with two master bedrooms. Each master bedroom is going to have its own separate balcony. This one is going to have a two-story teen hideout. So now, because it's an Icon class ship, it's probably going to be a little bit closer to the water park rather than the water slide, rather than Surfside. And the teen hideout is going to have its own staircase, its own game room. You've got 4 full bathrooms. It says it's gonna have an outdoor kitchen. I have no idea what that means because, like, you don't cook. Why would you cook for yourself on a cruise ship? So I don't know what an outdoor kitchen means, but we'll find out in another year or 2. Obviously beautiful upper deck views. It's from the renderings, it looks like a treehouse. Instead of those, like, bright yellows and blues. It's gonna have more of a woodsy tone, and think of Robinson Crusoe kind of a feel. So really, your ultimate family treehouse, it looks like that is made for multi-generational families with perhaps some older kids, and it appeals to the kids who maybe aren't that into the slide and really don't care that much about the musical staircase, but want their own. Like if you've been on a cruise with teens, like they want their own separate space, and we want a little bit of a separate space from them as well. Big picture, right? Ultimate family suite, kind of the first generation, fun, two-story loft. Ultimate family townhouse, 3 stories, little backyard, built for what I think is probably younger kids. It exits into Surfside level. And then you've got the ultimate family treehouse, which is your villa in the sky and built for possibly some older kids. And one of the things that comes up often when people are asking me about, star class benefits, especially some of these higher level star class suites is, what other experiences are included? Well, we've already talked about star class, like you get the deluxe beverage package, the ultimate food package, or the unlimited food package, all the Voom, all that. But some of the premium experiences that are really unique to like Utopia and to Icon are like the Royal Wearway, which is like an experience where it's an immersive dining experience where it seems like you're on a train and you're eating sort of like in a train car. And then they also have these supper clubs and they're theme based. There's a New York supper club, there's a Chicago supper club, there's going to be a Hollywood supper club. These are not included in your star class experience. So there is going to be a little bit of a cost. I think for the Royal Railway, I saw that it's like $50 for adults and maybe 25 for kids. Other things, though, too, have a little bit of like if you're going to do Azumi Hibachi, some of the newer ships have Azumi Omakase, right? Those are not going to be included. There might be a little bit of an additional surcharge. Azumi on the park. So if you're working with a travel agent, be sure if that's going to be a deal breaker for you, like you're in the like don't nickel and dime me club and you really don't want to do anything that has an even an added charge, your Genie can tell you, and certainly your travel advisor can tell you. So now let's just talk for a minute about what everybody wants to know, which is how much do these things actually cost? Right? Like this is a really, premium and amazingly luxurious experience. And the room is literally on those ships, one of a kind. So what exactly does that cost? Of course, as with most things in cruising, the answer is it depends. Like Royal Caribbean uses dynamic pricing. The numbers that the cost of the suite is going to depend on what ship you're sailing, what the timing of the year is going to be. Like hurricane season in the Caribbean is going to be a lot different than the summer in the Mediterranean or over New Year's or over spring break. So really, and Harmony of the Seas Ultimate Family Suite is going to be very different than probably Symphony's or certainly Spectrum's Ultimate Family Suite. And certainly the townhouse and the treehouse are gonna come with a premium price tag. So I did use Copilot to AI to help me to come up with some prices because I was able to find a couple on the Royal Caribbean website. But the other thing to know about these suites is that they book out the minute the cruise drops for many of them. I couldn't find out the price because it was just sold out. And I can't find out, obviously, who booked it and how much it cost. So I did the best I could, but what I found is that for the Ultimate Family Suite, you're gonna look at on the low side, if you're lucky, you'll get $12,000 for a 7-night cruise. I found a posting where one family for Utopia of the Seas paid around $12,000, 12,000 and change for 4 people on a 3-night sailing. So that's not 7 nights, that's Utopia of the Seas. And that's pretty low. I did find, though, on Harmony of the Seas, a 2-night sailing that was for 4 people. So one less night for 4 people, and it was $13,000. So again, it really varies. On Harmony, I also found a 6-night cruise over New Year's in the Ultimate Family Suite for about $40,000. So again, like across the suite, it's gonna change. Now, when we think about the Ultimate Family Townhouse, this is where your pricing drop like really skyrocket. For a family of 4, you're gonna be looking at close to $100,000 for a week, and that is based on icon of the seas, prices that people have said, like testimonials. So maybe people exaggerated, maybe under exaggerated, who knows? But it's from what people have said that they paid for the Icon of the Seas Ultimate Family Townhouse. And I remember when Icon of the Seas debuted, this was big news that it would be $100,000 for a 1 week sailing. Now, if you're looking at a holiday sailing, or if you're thinking of trying to book it for the inaugural sailing for Legend of the Seas, I would bet this suite is completely sold out, or it was like given to, I don't know, the CEO's family, or that would have been hard to get. But if you thinking of like the inaugural sailing for, like I said, Legend of the Seas, or even Hero of the Seas, then you're probably going to be looking at closer to $150,000 because remember, Hero of the Seas will have an ultimate family townhouse as well as an ultimate family treehouse. The Hero of the Seas, I don't think that their bookings have not opened up yet. And so we don't know. I don't think they've opened up yet. Somebody fact check me and put it in the comments. And so when they do, it's probably going to be closer to over 150,000, 150, 175,000 for a family of 4. And when you think of like the peak season, New Year's, Christmas, I wouldn't be surprised if it was over $200,000 for a family of 4. These are not inexpensive, and you get to decide if that's the luxury experience that you want to spend for your family. Now, again, some of these cater to multi-generational, maybe multifamily. Maybe you're close with your siblings' family and you wanna split the cost. Maybe even you can put 3 families in there, that you split it 3 ways, and that makes it more reasonable. Remember, everybody gets star class benefits, whether you're only 1 family of 4 or whether you're 3 families of 12. Everyone gets the star class benefit. So, it's definitely a splurge. It's definitely luxurious because of all of the features we've talked about. But again, for that price, I mean, I could do a world cruise. I could probably do 2 world cruises for that price. Personally, would I ever do it? I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt I would ever spend that much money on a tree house or a townhouse, but given the right circumstance, who knows? Who knows? Just to really wrap it all up. So if you're a family and you have the means, maybe there's a lot of you. Certainly, if I had a lot of kids and I had the opportunity and the means for all of us to stay in one big stateroom, that would be amazing. But maybe you're also a small family, family of 3 or 4, and you want all that space, or you just want the luxury and you want the fun of experiencing that. On top of that, you're on a Royal Caribbean ship. So you've got all the other things that Royal Caribbean offers, the entertainment, the food choices, the water slides, the AquaDome marketplace, the AquaDome show. Then I would really, encourage you to look at one of these rooms and come on the show and tell us about your experience because I think they're just fun. I mean, for me, it's just fun to think about these rooms and see all the cool things that are available on a Royal Caribbean ship. So, thanks for being here and listening as I just sort of geek out over the top staterooms that Royal Caribbean offers. If you have sailed in any of them, I would love to have you on the podcast to hear about your experience. And as always, I thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, I wish you safe and luxurious cruising.